I thought about doing a video sharing my own experience with moving to a foreign country, and this may sound a little bit strange because we did so many videos on adoption. So today's subject, it's not about adoption, or not only about adoption. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I first got the message that we might move to Germany, and then how that impacted me, and how I had to handle the whole situation with moving to a country, to a culture that I wasn't really eager to move to. So first of all, I know that Germany is not a third world country, so many of you might think, okay, but I mean, you just moved a few countries to the west to I don't know, a better country, not to a third world country, and you don't have to face poverty or financial struggles and so on. But even if I didn't have to face all these things, I still perceived this whole experience as in the beginning, I think I was pretty sad because I didn't want to move here. Me and Gabi, we were talking about moving to some other country for adventure and so on. Like, we specifically said that not Germany. We don't want to move to Germany, and that was just 2 months before we decided to move here. And I have family in the States, and a lot of people ask me, okay, but why didn't you move to the States? You have family there, you have friends, you have childhood friends and so on. And I said, okay, the US is interesting for shopping, but it's not necessarily a place where I would want to live. I mean, it wasn't my dream. It wasn't my dream. So we said, okay, what country should we choose? And we just let time pass by a little bit, and we continued our lives. And this opportunity came for Gabi. He got a job offer from a company here in Germany, in Heidelberg, and he told me right from the beginning about the job offer, and I said, okay, you could go to the first interview and see how it goes, and if it goes well, we'll see. But I didn't really expect it to go that well, and after the first interview came the second interview, and by the second interview I said, okay, but this is, I mean, it's, the second interview is pretty serious. So if things go well, then we will have to move to Germany. I mean, if everything goes well with the interview. And at that point, I was reluctant, to say the least. I was quite frightened, and I think somewhere deep down in my heart, I didn't want things to go too smoothly, because I didn't want to leave my country, and I had no reason to move to Germany, since we said we don't want to move to Germany. But anyhow, so the interview went well, and I told Gabi, I remember it was a pretty turbulent time. Like, I felt a lot of turmoil because I didn't want to move here, and I knew that if I wouldn't move here and Gabi would come alone, then that would be the end of our relationship, and I didn't want that, and Gabi didn't want that. So with a heavy heart, I said, okay, if the second interview goes well, then I will join you in Germany, not because I necessarily like the country or really want to move to the country, but because I want to be where you are, and because we're married, and I think it would be the right thing to do. And as many of you know, I found it really, really, really difficult to let my professional life, to leave my professional life, to leave my friends and all the connections I made back home in Romania. And it would have been, I think, the second move for me, since I'm from Cluj, small city, so to say, from Romania. I moved, after I got married, I moved to Bucharest, and that was a really big change. And now from Bucharest, I had to come to Germany, and it was the second biggest change. And I remember that at the beginning of my professional life, I was a little bit disappointed because as a hairstylist, I didn't have a lot of clients, and it's what it is. In the beginning, at the beginning of anything, you don't have a lot of clients. You just have to work hard, and then if you're serious and hardworking, then clients and money will come in time. And that's what my first boss said. You just have to have a little bit of patience. In time, if you'll be serious and you will persevere, then you will have clients as well. So I was in the hairstyling industry for 7 years, and that's when the news came with Germany, and I told Gabi, okay, but I've worked so hard for these last 7 years, and I was almost a freelancer, and I was really happy with what I was doing, and a lot of my clients became my friends, and I was not only doing business, I was like combining business with pleasure, because I really enjoyed what I was doing. And with a really heavy heart, I said, okay, so we're gonna leave for Germany. And I remember like bargaining with Gabi and telling him that I would want to come at least in the beginning to Romania every month and meet with my clients and do their hair, and because I couldn't really let go. And I know, I mean, it might sound not so serious or a little bit, I don't know, that I cared so much about them. It wasn't only that I cared about my professional life and something that I worked for. I was finally beginning to reap what I sowed. So after 7 years of investing in this profession, I said, okay, now I'm feeling good, and like I have this portfolio of clients and it's going well, and I can enjoy the effort of my work, and like, why do I have to give it up now? I mean, why? For what? Anyhow, I went to Germany, and then for the next 5 months I would come to Romania, I think a week every month, and I would do my clients' hair. And then I felt like I was in Romania, but I was in Germany also, but I had like what was best from like both worlds. And Gabi said, look, if you wanna give it a try with Germany, at least for 1 year, you have to like put an effort and learn the language and try to integrate in Germany. And after 1 year, if you see that it doesn't work, or if we figure out that it's not for us, then we can move back to Romania or wherever we wanted to move. So after 5 trips to Romania, I was pretty surprised that my clients came back to me in this period. And I told Gabi, okay, but since I have such good clients and they want to come back to me, it might be a sign that I shouldn't have moved from Romania. And Gabi said, look, let's give it a try with Germany and we'll see. So after my last trip, it was pretty difficult to let go or to try to like follow Gabi's words, so to say. But I said, okay, I will try this year, I will see how it goes. And in the meantime, I started German lessons, and it was going pretty well. I think I was a pretty good student. And in 2015, when we moved here in the summer, I became pregnant with Elsa. And I said, okay, but now I'm pregnant. Now, if I want to go back to Romania, I won't really be able to, because we're here and I want to give birth here. So I waited and prayed about it. And what we tried to do during the first year is try to get involved in our community. We go to a church here in Germany, and Gabi had the idea that we should get involved with our church ministry, and probably we can make friends a little bit more easier and faster, rather than just wait for people to come to us. And he was right. He's right a lot of the times. He was right. So we started making connections, and I found really nice people. We started making really good relationships and developing really good relationships here in Germany in our church. And I gave birth after a year and 4 months. And I think after I gave birth here in Germany, there was something in me that, I don't know if it convinced me not to move back to Romania, but it was something that I that I enjoyed so much. The whole experience of giving birth here in Germany really um, was really pleasant, and not only pleasant, but it was something so different from what I imagined and envisioned, because I heard so many stories back home about women giving birth that weren't so nice and weren't so pleasant and so on. So now having a child, I think it made me think even more um, about wanting to stay here or wanting to give Germany a try. So one of the things Gabi was really adamant, so to say, is us trying to be active rather than passive. Because if you try to look for relationships and look for opportunities, you might find them a little bit easier rather than just wait for the opportunity to come to you. And like I said, we developed friendships, and two of my friends that were really close to me and that are still close to me, they moved to different countries last year, so it was pretty disappointing because I told Gabi, okay, but we worked so hard for finding these friends that were almost like family in a foreign country, which is pretty important because we didn't have family here, so these friends were pretty close. And what am I going to do now since they're gone and we're back to square one, where I have to develop new relationships? And I mean, I'm a social person. I don't find it hard to socialize with people, but it's a big difference, at least in my perception. It's a big difference between socializing with people and like going out for a coffee and developing like meaningful relationships where you can help the other person, like when the other person is in need, and the other way around. And we're still trying to work on this. And even though, so in my professional life, I was always the kind of person who would like convince people to try out new stuff, and I thought about myself, oh, I'm so adventurous. I dyed my hair blue, I dyed my hair pink, and I thought I was really open to things. But then I found out that I wasn't as open as I thought, and I wanted to work on that. I just wanted to put like my actions where my words were. And I tried to not look back and just be sorry for what I had and for the relationships that I lost because they moved to a different country, but not really lost in the real sense of the word. And the time when I was in Romania for adoption was in a way eye-opening, because I told Gabi, I said, okay, if I'm coming back to Germany, I have to change something. I was staying at home with Elsa, and she was 2 years old when we left for Romania. And when she was 3 years old, I said, okay, if I'm coming back to Germany, then I want to do something that I really want. I really want to continue with hairstyling, but I had this hobby that I really wanted to pursue, which I had it, I think, from high school, and even from the beginning of high school, if I can say, and that was pursuing a career or trying to learn more about couples therapy. So I will share a few intimate experiences in this sense. We came back to Germany, and like many of you know, it was a struggle to be away from Gabi 1.5 years when I was in Romania. And when we came back, we came to the conclusion that doing couples therapy would help us, and it really did. And the way it transformed our relationship and the new perspective that I got after we did this therapy convinced me even more that I want to start learning more about it. And so I started a formation course here in Germany to become a couples therapist and a counselor, and it's all in German. And that's another milestone for me, because I always wanted to start learning in German, but I was always reluctant because I don't really trust myself. I mean, with English, okay, it's fine, but German is another level. It's just, I'm just at the beginning of the road, but I'm really really excited about it. And I think at the beginning of an adventure, I'm more reluctant, but once I put my mind and think about it and wrap my mind around it, it becomes a little bit easier in time. And I think I'm in a pretty good place right now. And after all these years of staying at home with kids, I found a job here in Germany, and even this was, in a way, a struggle for me because I didn't really have a lot of hope that I would find something that would fit me. And God solved this problem like He does with every other problem in my life. And I can say it with my whole heart that I found a place that is more that I could think about, or more that I could wish. So this is what I was going through this whole 5 years since I moved to Germany. And what I would leave you with, if I could leave you with something, would be try new things, probably in a controlled environment, and you never know what could come out of it. If something seems not so like pleasant in the beginning, or not so happy, or not something that you would do, try it out and see if something good might come out of it. Now that I look back, I have to thank Gabi, because he's right a lot of the times, even though it's hard to admit. But he is the kind of person who always encourages me to like go one step further and try another new thing and try to be open. And he really amazes me, because in the beginning, like I said, I thought that I'm the adventurous person, that I'm the one who's open for things. And I must admit, he is more daring than I am, and I think we complete each other in a pretty good way in this area. So the adventure keeps unfolding, and I will keep you posted if new things come up. Thanks for listening, and see you next time. We would be really happy to hear from you, so please leave us a comment in the comment section below, and see you next time.